Hello and welcome back to Whitney Alex Works recap of The Bachelor Season 27, Episode 5, Week 5. Before we begin, please like and subscribe here at Whitney Alex Works for more recap videos just like this one. Alright, let's dive into Week 5 of Zach Shallcross's journey to find love. We begin a new week as the 11 remaining women travel to London to meet up with Zach, all in hopes of furthering their connections and enjoying their time together. Both Zach and the women are very excited about their new destination as they all settle in with high hopes of an exciting adventure ahead of them. And right away, the first one-on-one date is announced and it goes to Gabby. The date card announces that Gabby will be treated like a queen and soon a driver comes to pick her up. But of course, just like the Bahamas, the other women are crushed their name wasn't on the date card, and Greer takes it really hard as she has told Zach about her family and the drink of tea, and how tea means something special to her as it's sentimental, so she is crushed that she didn't get this special London one-on-one date. But Gabby heads out and meets up with Zach, greeting each other with a kiss, and they are going to get the royal treatment as they head to a perfume shop where the royal family gets their perfume and cologne made. Basically, it's an episode of The Crown as Gabby and Zach create their own fragrance together by sniffing scents and making their own scent called Zabby. Zach is really enjoying Gabby's company as he thinks Gabby is fun and quirky, and he is really excited about spending more time with her. Then, after picking out a fragrance together, they meet up with King Charles III's former butler and they try on royal clothing, playing dress up, and Gabby gets to try on gorgeous gowns, and Zach is stunned by Gabby's beauty. He is feeling the feels with our girl Gabby from Vermont, and soon they are playing with the royal corgis. That is an ode to the late Queen Elizabeth II's dogs, and next they are drinking tea together and sharing some romantic moments. And all of a sudden, Gabby is quickly seeming like a top contender for Zach's affections. And with the first half of the date completed, Gabby comes back to the hotel room with a ton of shopping bags in her hands, and of course the other women get jealous as Gabby starts showing off all of her designer clothes she got from the date, and she even shows off her Jimmy Choo shoes, and it gets even more extravagant as Gabby's gown arrives for the evening. But Greer is having a hard time with this show and tell as she desperately wanted this date and gets emotional over hearing that Zach and Gabby had English tea together, which makes her question if Zach is actually right for her, citing that she even has a tea tattoo on her wrist and that this would have been her dream date. And soon the situation is too much for Greer and she leaves the room upset, and Charity follows her to comfort a grieving Greer, and Charity keeps it real as she says that every girl in that room is feeling jealous about Gabby's date. It's just that they are all holding their feelings in, and Greer is very upset and confides in Charity that tea is the drink that brings her family together and that she isn't getting the affirmation from Zach in this journey. And awkwardly, Gabby comes down the hallway with all of her shopping bags and asks to get into her room where Greer is crying on the floor. Well, with the drama again festering underneath all the glamour, Gabby heads out for the nighttime portion of the one-on-one date. Zach and Gabby are very comfortable with each other as they make a toast to their first date, and Gabby makes a point to express that despite all the fanciness, she wants to be vulnerable with Zach, sharing that she has dealt with body issues in the past, and her past relationship she hasn't felt herself, and Zach hopes to keep making Gabby feel special no matter what, and they share kisses and end up furthering their connection. And eventually, Zach gives the rose to Gabby, to which of course she says yes. Then they spend the rest of the evening dancing to a group called UB40, where Gabby thinks she feels wanted and loved by Zach. But meanwhile, the other women are torn as the next date card arrives and the names are listed for the next group date, and everyone's name but Charity's is on it. But this sends Mercedes crying as she really wanted to be on the next one-on-one date, which seems like a reoccurring experience this season where women are sent crying down the hallway every time a date card arrives. So the next group date has a 9-to-1 ratio, with each woman having an 11% chance of securing the group date rose, but something is about to throw a wrench in the rest of the week. A note arrives from Zach explaining that he is feeling under the weather and that he can't make the day portion of the group date. The women are of course extremely disappointed, but they all head out to spend time in London without Zach. The mood is pretty somber, but they spend the day on a double-decker bus touring the city, and the women are still pretty upset, but they still try to make the most of the situation. They hang out in a telephone booth and they eat fish and chips and also drink beer in a pub. But despite the girls' day out, they're all worried about Zach, who is feeling pretty horribly, as we get an update that Zach is just feeling run down and jet lagged. And despite the 9 women making the most of the unprecedented situation, they are hoping that there will be an after party to attend. And so the women get dressed up formally, all hoping to see Zach that evening. But instead of seeing Zach, another note arrives announcing that Zach is actually sick and that he is canceling the group date. Of course, there is more crying and distress as the women feel like precious time with Zach is being taken away, and there is a big what if with Charity's one-on-one date the next day. The next morning, it's supposed to be Charity's one-on-one date, but host Jesse Palmer comes in and braces the women for more bad news. He officially announces that Zach has tested positive for COVID-19 and he has to cancel the rest of the week. Everyone is rightly upset and everyone is frustrated with a situation that is out of their control, and it's now just a big unknown. But we do see Katie make Zach a care package as she brings it to his room and talks to him through the door. And Katie confirms her feelings for Zach as Zach affirms that he does see something with Katie and he is touched that Katie made a care package for him. Meanwhile, we get a vlog with Zach updating the audience about his health and how disappointed he is about getting COVID-19, but the unknown continues as eventually Jesse Palmer comes in to announce some more discouraging news, and the news is that there will be a virtual cocktail party as well as a virtual rose ceremony. But Zach makes an effort to make a connection despite not being able to physically be there, and soon he makes an effort to check in with every woman on a Zoom call. Charity is the first to come in to talk to Zach on Zoom, and Zach apologizes to Charity for having to miss out on their planned date. So he gives her a sweet gift of London's clock tower and hopes they can make up their lost time at a further date. Charity is touched and feels validated by this, and Zach again is checking in with all the women, even sharing virtual kisses with Kat and Allie. But when it comes to Greer, it gets pretty awkward. Greer tries to comfort Zach by sharing that she got COVID-19 during the end of a business year and she lost out on economic opportunities, but this makes Zach question the analogy and says that finding a wife is not like missing out on work. And Greer is crushed again, this time crying over the miscommunication between these two, and she feels like she blew it with Zach and gets comforted by Charity and Brooklyn about offending Zach, and now Greer thinks she is going to get sent home at the upcoming virtual rose ceremony. Soon we see a conversation with Zach and Jesse Palmer over Zoom and how Zach is upset that he has to send some women home in a very unconventional way. And that bothers him, citing that the week was robbed and that he lost some valuable time with the remaining women. But of course the show must go on here, so for the first time ever, there is going to be a virtual rose ceremony where Zach is going to give out roses to the women through a Zoom call. And despite the awkward situation going on, Zach addresses the women in the room, apologizing for the situation, but he calls out the following women in order, giving them another week with Zach. Gabby, of course, is safe, so he calls Katie's name first, then Charity. Next, he calls Allie's name, then Kat, Brooklyn, Jess, Ariel, and then the last rose goes to Greer, securing her another chance with Zach despite their awkward Zoom conversation. And this means that both Mercedes and Kylie are heading home, and now 9 women remain. And that's it for week 5 of Zach Shawcross's season of The Bachelor, where COVID-19 put a halt on all the romance in London. Thank you for watching Whitney Alex Works' recap of The Bachelor season 27, episode 5. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to Whitney Alex Works for more videos in the future. See you soon for the next episode.